Jared VanAllen and myself, Roger Howell, are going to discuss some other deployment solutions that Ventev has. I'm going to talk primarily about the picture to the bottom left, which is our universal broadband enclosure. This is a new system that we recently developed to be able to deploy networking elements that are in a rack mount configuration. And as we know, some switches and rack mount type of equipment requires more space, whether that's 12 port, 24 port counts or even higher, would naturally be in a rack mount configuration. So this solution, which is a turnkey solution, including the power supply, the batteries, and a load center on the side, can accommodate up to 10 rack units of equipment. It provides power and battery backup for even, in some cases, up to days of battery backup in a unique solution that can be deployed very quickly and easily. Again, another turnkey solution that allows a customer simply to bring their network equipment to that site, install into the rack, and connect to the power system that's already existing. So it makes that deployment as simple and easy as possible. So for the next deployments, Jared's going to come back and talk to you a little bit more in detail about some of the other configurations that we have.
Thank you, Roger. So as Roger mentioned, the Broadband Enclosure, we also have an IoT version of that, which is a positive 48 volt version designed for deployments of rack mount products, for example, with the Cisco Catalyst 9300, right? So we can do a full deployment with those. It follows a similar strategy to our existing DIN mount solution. With Cisco, we use the Cisco Design-In program. We're a Cisco Design-In partner. We have a full package solution which allows you to deploy a network with switching and or routing, as well as some backhaul methodology in a simple solution that's easily deployed and sold as a single SKU. So I can order that with all of the components you see there, a UPS system in a NEMA 3R box, right? Which allows me to deploy indoors or outdoors network elements. On the right, immediately there, you will see a deployed solution put into place in a city that was recently mentioned in Texas. This is a digital divide deployment where we deployed our enclosures, this same powered enclosure. It included Cisco switching technology. And then in this case, the Cisco ultra reliable wireless backhaul methodology to allow for community wireless in areas that typically were not able to be served and did not have access to fiber. So they backhaul to a central location via these individual deployments, and then bring them down to fiber at the local police station or local library. Interestingly, the requirement was that we also be able to help provide a mounting solution for it. So as you might imagine, the utility company did not want these 5 to 7 devices individually hung on the pole. So we devised, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner there, a bracket which allows us to mount this designed power enclosure with the full network capacity, as well as utilizing our strong arm mounts, which you may have seen in some of our previous deployments, to be able to facilitate the access points and the backhaul radios, as well as the antennas required for that. It cut the deployment time in less than half and took it from over 3 hours in 2 cherry pickers to under an hour in 2 cherry pickers. We're able to produce these using any of the Cisco industrial IoT switching and routing, as well as security appliances. We have full access to that in both the DIN mount and rack mount capacity. The existing enclosure under full deployment, which would be in this particular scenario in the upper left-hand corner, 8 ports of PoE plus, as well as the router and control, it is able to hold that up for 45 to 60 minutes at full deployment to allow for graceful shutdown, and or in the case of, for example, utilities, they'll use these for reclosure systems, et cetera, where they require active network connectivity without line-based power. Yes.
So I assume these enclosures are not by themselves RF permeable, yes?
They are in fact RF permeable. They are polycarbonate. We do have a state. Are you speaking of the DIN mount enclosure, or are you talking about the rack mount?
The rack.
The rack mount is not. It is aluminum. Antennas would be required to be external currently.
Okay. And how long do you suppose you guys could run? Let's just say the AP you have shown there, assuming we don't have a full RNS stack in there, and we were just running the radio itself. Say we're backhauling from someone else. How long do you think you could run that?
In the rack mount option? Mm-hmm. So I'll let Roger speak to that specifically. The battery banks are expandable. We can run up to 2 battery banks. I think the total capacity is 1,000. 200 amp. The 200 amp hour capacity at maximum. So 200 amp hour capacity, depending on the radio, could hold it for days or even weeks, depending on the radio you're using.
All right. And does it have a safety rating? Maybe I'm missing it on the slide there.
It is a NEMA 3R box. In terms of safety rating for UL listing, you're talking?
If I wanted to run it in like a C1, D2 or related areas.
This is not a Division 2 capable box.
Thanks.
You have the ability to kind of put this on like a cow or a vehicle of some kind? You have that capabilities?
Or which deployment? The rack mount deployment?
Any of your stuff.
Yes. Well, depending on the requirement, yes. These are primarily going to be 110 powered solutions that we're talking about here.
Okay.
So it's going to depend more on the application you're talking about. But that is a good point to bring up. The experiences that most of this group of people have had with Ventev, you understand that we're very good at configured solutions, right? And what we do well is to take a challenge and find a way to address it. So I think that's how I would approach that. In addition to the Cisco Design-In program, we have recently signed an OEM agreement with Aruba, HPE Aruba. We're actually able to provide a virtually identical solution with HPE Aruba for the CX4100i line, which is their new industrial line. There are not a lot of switch plays in the industrial set, so it's very good to see kind of some of the expansion from Aruba there. Our solution with Aruba is virtually identical to the Cisco capacity for deployment. And again, orderable as a single SKU from us, which is a turnkey deployable solution. The last thing I wanted to cover here would be our ability to provide services in explosive environments. So it was mentioned a moment ago. Ventev has the ability to provide multiple access points for wireless deployments, and we have the ability to look at alternate deployments for other equipment depending on the requirement in C1, D1, and D2 environments. It is an ATEX certified complete build. So we don't send them out with the enclosure. We send it out as a complete build, certified, serialized, and immediately deployable on location. This is done, number one, for compliance. Number two, we can assure that the governing agencies are able to immediately go in and pull validation of their adherence to local code for explosive environments.
So with this, you can customize these depending on what device it is, or is it only very specific devices? I mean, I know you mentioned Cisco and Aruba, for example. What if I have a different vendor other than Cisco or vendor? I'm trying to put something very specific in there. Can it be customized for what I need it for to meet compliance needs?
It is on a case-by-case basis, yes. So for example, we've expanded the access point availability for the radios in those based on customer demand. So depending on the device you want to put in there, yes.
Those antenna attachment points there, is there any play with those if we didn't want to use dipoles? It's been a while since I worked with the AP that I'm pretty sure is in the box, so forgive me.
Sure. We do have a one option for an omnidirectional antenna, which has been certified for use in the ATEX environment. We would have to go in and you have to have them individually certified for that purpose. Currently, we have the dipoles, and then we have a paint can style Omni or oil can style Omni that are certified for use on this enclosure.